This is Master Your Mindset with Coach Mark.
Hey guys, what is going on, my people? Welcome back to another episode. This is another Thursday episode, and I have a powerful one for you guys having to do with when you're presented with opportunities, how to make the decision on whether you should say yes or you should say no. And I'm going to start off by just saying, like, your initial reaction to that. I'm going to try and get you guys to start basically leading with the word no. And I have a lot of powerful things that I want to tell you guys today about this process. But I really want you to hear me out on this one, because this one is that thing that holds back high performers, leaders, business owners, parents, people in their career. Because just like me, you may have this thing where you constantly say yes to every opportunity that's presented to you because you feel like you're either going to let somebody down if you say no, or you're missing out on a key opportunity. So what I'm going to talk about today is really, I want to show you how you can start saying no so that you can actually show up and perform at the highest level when you do say yes. So guys, saying yes is the worst thing you can do to add value to others. And I know that's kind of like a little bit of a harsh statement, right? It's like saying yes is the worst thing you can do to add value to others. But I really want you to think about this for a second on just like a little bit of a deeper level, all right? Now, I understand why you might think this way, because I used to think this way too. It was always based off of what we talk about being our head voice, meaning, but if I say no, I'm going to let people down, or they're not going to think of me as the best leader, right? Or they might have this like thought like, hey, I'm putting the team last. And really I start to use that to actually beat myself up. But the opposite thing happens too. Now that I have a business that is successful, like people reach out to me all the time and ask me to speak on podcasts and to do this and to do that. And once again, I find myself trapped in that too, because I'm like, you know what? Number one is I really want to show up for them. I really want to be able to deliver for their audience. And so I once again stumbled down the path of saying yes to everything. And what I realized is that was not the way that I wanted to show up, because when I did show up, I kind of felt like sometimes a little bit resentful. Sometimes I kind of felt like I was forced into doing that, and nobody likes to be forced into doing things, even if it's something that they actually enjoy. Now, I want you to really think about this, all right? I want you to think about this when it comes to the idea of saying no, all right? Do you know people who currently say yes to everything, but yet they don't have the results that they want in their life? Can you think of some people who do that? Can you think of people who are just saying yes constantly all the time, and it's actually taking them further away from the results that they truly want? So can you see, if you continue doing this, if you continue saying yes, logically it makes sense, right? Because if you're constantly saying yes, you actually aren't able to show up at 100%. You're able to show up at 60% and 40% and 30% because you're saying yes to everything and you're taking everything on. But I know that a lot of people might get to this point and they might be like, okay, Mark, like we get it. Like saying yes is like one of the worst things we can do. But what is it that some of the incredible leaders that are out there do? This is what I like to do. And you guys are going to kind of hear this over and over and over again in this podcast. But really, I like to really find or really identify where success leaves clues. Because success always leaves clues. And when you can identify some of those people that maybe you look up to, people who have created that thing that you want to create, there's actually a path they took to get there. And when you can re-examine that and you go, wow, so this is what they do, it gets you to like really see it on a different level. Because there's this process called be, do, have. Be, do, have. Most of us have it in reverse. Like we think we have to have something so that we can do something. And when we do those activities, then we can become that person, right? But when you think about the great leaders, they didn't do that. They focused on what they need to become. One of the things that we talk about a lot about in the 626 is like having a six-figure mindset. So if you have, like, let's say you have a business and it's 4 or 5 figures right now, and you're looking to get into, to create that six-figure business. What would the kind of person who already has a six-figure business be doing? What would they be saying? Would they be second-guessing what it is that they're putting out there to the world? Who would they be hanging out with? What kind of training would they be going through? Would they be individually like sending out messages to 1 million people on social media? Well, the answer is no, because they would obviously overwhelm themselves, right? Well, if you're even a 4 or 5 figure business owner and you're wanting to get to 6-figure, what are some of the things that you need to like really reframe in your brain to have that 6-figure mindset? So what we teach inside of the 626, I want to share one of those powerful topics with you guys here today, is really taking the time to digest what somebody is presenting you and having a filter to decide if this is really that valuable, really in alignment with your goals, really in alignment with your core values, and it's going to be that thing for you to say yes to, or is it going to be like most of the things, which is going to be no. It's going to be a most definite no. And so having some kind of filter in place so that you know what you should say yes to and what you should say no to is super important. And then, of course, what's the next step is actually making sure that once you have that and somebody asks you to do something, you use that filter to flow everything through. And what the great leaders do is they get really clear on this, really clear, sitting down, saying, okay, these are the values, these are my goals related to my business, and I have to say yes. I get to say yes when it is in alignment with those, and everything else, I have to say no. And there's different ways of saying this, guys. But I know a lot of times for me personally, whenever I have to say no, it kind of like gets me a little bit like, well, how am I going to communicate with them? I don't want to feel like I'm letting them down. But you can find a way to communicate it in a way that they actually like think better of you even, right? So for me personally, I would say something like this. Like if somebody was asking me to do something, I would say, you know what? I would totally love to do that. Right now, though, I have this going on in my business, and what I have to say is like, if I were to say yes to you, I would want to show up with 100% of my energy and my focus, and be able to show up for your people like they truly deserve. And at this time, I can't do that, right? I have to make sure that I'm in alignment with my family values and all the things that I have kind of going on. So right now, I'm going to have to say no, but it's definitely something that I would consider in the future. Even just leading with that would be something that I would feel, and I've had people reach out to me and say that to me personally. I'm like, 100%, I love that because they are in alignment with their values, right? And so leading that way, it would make me feel a lot more comfortable with saying no. There is ways to say no in a way it's polite, but that it actually shows, like, it kind of makes it seem like, and it really is true, that you're actually doing this for their benefit. Because in reality, you are. Because if you say yes to everything, you're not going to be able to show up the way that you want to show up, right? You're not going to be able to have that focus. You're not going to be able to have that energy. So really saying no is the best thing that you can do for them. Because when you do say yes, you are going to be there 100%. You are going to be the energy that they need, or have the energy that they and their audience needs, and you're going to be able to help take it to the next level, all right? So this is the best way to do it, all right? Have a filter. Now, I want to share with you one more filter that I have that has been super helpful for me in multiple different areas of my life, all right? It's called the Pareto principle, and it's also known as the 80-20 rule, okay? The 80-20 rule. So 20% of the actions that you're taking produce 80% of the results in your life. So if you think about like business activities, all right, there's 20% of those activities that produce a majority of the results that you're getting in your business. But there's 80% of the activities that you're doing that are only producing the remainder 20% results in your life or in your business. So when you think about this, and by the way, this is something that happens in your life. It happens with relationships. It happens with your kids' connection. It happens with your health and fitness. It's the 80-20 rule is always in effect. And when you have a filter that helps you identify what are those 20% activities that produces 80% of the results, and if somebody presents something like that to you, then you say yes. If somebody presents the 80% that just moves the needle a little bit, it's 80% of the stuff you're doing that's only moving the needle 20%, then you just say no. You politely decline and say, hey, this is not the area that I'm in right now. I appreciate you for thinking of me, but I really need to make sure that I give everything that I can to the things that like move the needle the most. And really, like that's such an important thing, not only in our business, but in so many different areas. Because what would your life look like if you started to focus on the most important things, and you would say yes to those things, and you would say no to everything else that doesn't fall into alignment with that? Well, I can tell you, you would have a 6, 7, 8-figure business. You would have that amazing connection with your family. You'd be able to be that leader that you want to be in your career because you've been able to have that filter to flow everything through, all right? So going back to the original promise, saying yes is the worst thing that you can do to the people when it comes to adding value to them. But what you can do is you can have a filter, and you can have a filter that you run everybody through. So that way you can make a decision whether this is going to be in alignment with what your goals and what your values are, and be able to show up on your A game for them, versus if you're saying no, The reasons why is because there's so much more that you can spend your time and your energy in a better, more consistent way that's going to actually move the needle not only for you, but for them too. So have some kind of filter. If that's the 80-20 rule, if that's just saying no primarily and then going back later and just sitting down to see if it's in alignment with your values and your goals, whatever that is, there's a lot of power in that, all right? And just give yourself some space, guys. Sometimes just giving yourself some space instead of it being an immediate response. It could even be something as simple like, hey, let me check my calendar. Hey, let me check to make sure I don't have anything else going on. It gives you more space to really think about it so that you can make a decision and not have it be an automatic thing. All right, guys? All right, I hope that was helpful, guys. And this 80-20 rule it's a game changer. It's definitely something I've used in multiple different areas of my life. It's how I've been able to like really exponentially grow all the different areas that I wanted to grow in because I've helped myself to identify what that 20% is that moves the needle the most. And I've eliminated, outsourced, or done less of the 80%. And I know that it will help you guys too. So I appreciate you guys for listening to another episode. Once again, we have our longer episodes on Monday, but really, sit down, analyze where it is you are right now when it comes to your time, when it comes to your energy, and really dive into finding a filter that will help change the game for you. All right, I appreciate you guys so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.